All right, this is for women docs who have their plates full this summer. Like, imagine a dinner plate and there's just stuff spewing all over the plate because you're thinking of how to get the kids in camp, how to get to work, how do you have fun, how do you enjoy the long nights and the beautiful sunsets. But it's exhausting and it's tiring. So, we're going to go over 4 weeks of 10 minutes actions each week, 10 minutes in 4 weeks, the summer challenge to acknowledge the hidden strategy of focusing on connections. So, how do we beat distraction, feeling distracted and exhausted? And we know when we're distracted, we feel unhappy. So, the happiness researchers already told us that. We know that already. We feel isolated. We feel like work doesn't matter because there's a lot of things on our plate. So, how do we use these hidden strategies that are not readily talked about as a tool to build our feeling of feeling renewed and peaceful and lighter and brighter during the summer? Who doesn't want to feel bright in the summer, right? So that's what we're going to do in this challenge. We're going to dive into these hidden strategies to beat distraction, isolation, and that feeling of meaningless tasks and work that we have as women docs sometimes. Come on in tired, but leave informed and renewed. So if you commit to this, it's 10 minutes a week. The videos are 2 minutes or less, just to tell you, hey, this is what we're going to focus on this week. These are the actions to take. This is what not to do. Less is more. Okay, so welcome to the summer challenge. This is in Fresh Path MD. This is my membership I have for women docs, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you for your trust. I'm Dr. Mary Rensel. I'm a neurologist of 30 plus years, a mom of four, and I had those summers where like, oh my gosh, how do we know where everybody's going? How are they getting there? How are they getting rides? There's just a lot on your plate in the summer, right? And I wish I had these tools. So I just dove into the research and built these strategies so that we can dive into them this summer, right? And we can feel lighter and brighter in the summer, right? Well, thanks for being here. So let's go. So this is our week one. We're going to go. Okay. So we just want to acknowledge the fact that we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to do it all. Just tiny things really matter. What are we talking about? Well, the researchers show us that burnout is that emotionally exhausting can happen because of emotionally exhausting connections, that those highly emotional connections we can have with humans in healthcare, that can happen for sure, right? So how do we fill up our how do we get renewed after those emotionally draining connections? What emotionally fills us up? So, great news. The research is done. We don't have to figure this out ourselves. We can dive into the research that's done. The key is connections, supportive connections. So, obviously, we're connected to a lot of people. We may say challenging people throughout our days, professionally, out in the community. You might be, acknowledging and dealing with a lot of what are called challenging people. Humans are challenging. We have a lot of levels to us, right? So, how do we build connections in those small moments that actually renew us? How do we find those? How do we build them? Because I have, at my age, my kids are almost out of the house. One is in college. So, we had to set of friends just in our lives because of all the teams the kids were on and the activities they did. And then, when that was over, we had to think like, ooh, who are our friends now? What do we want? How do we maintain relationships? How do we build them? And I was just talking to some grandmas that are in their early 70s, and they were also saying the same thing. They just moved to a new area and it's hard to make friends. They were saying, I was talking to another cousin that is low 60s, and he was like, it's hard to make friends at this time. And then you talk to kids in school, and sometimes they say the kids are mean. It's hard to make friends. So this is a human condition, right? It's just building those connections. It's not over. There's times when, I personally have realized I need to build more friends. I need to build up my connections. And all these folks in different life stages were also sharing the same thing. So this is human condition. So let's just dive into the research and actions we can take. Insight and strategies and research is great, but taking action really can make a difference, right? So, week one, tiny connections matter. The theme is building support in small moments because it feels great when you connect with someone, and it can be a small connection. It can be a silly meme. It can be a text that says thinking of you. So, we're going to intentionally build these small moments where we can connect with other people. Okay. Why? Because we feel encouraged, we feel renewed, we feel peaceful, we feel lighter, we feel brighter, right? When we are less alone, right? So, what can we do in this first week? You can send a quick little thinking of you text. You can leave a voice memo for a friend, a silly one or a serious one, or just a supportive one. You can thank a colleague that just did something nice for you, it made your life a little bit easier. You can just share a silly, funny meme or photo to someone. Ask somebody for a short walk. Sometimes I can do this at work, before work, during work, after work. Sit with someone for lunch instead of charting alone. This is a tough one. Crummy keyboards. Who knows crummy keyboards? I think medicine is better when we don't have crummy keyboards. I know we will have a more renewing culture in healthcare when I don't see crummy keyboards, because how many people eat lunch while they're charting? So tons of people. So every keyboard I go to has people's breakfast, lunch, and dinner on there. And so we know that this is culturally normal for us, but I don't know that this is optimal for our well-being and our connections. Okay, we can sit just and share a tiny win with another human. That's always fun. Or just send a text. I was thinking of somebody I went on a college spring break with. I was telling my husband some funny stories about a college spring break, about a flood and getting in a plow truck. I don't know. It was flooding in Florida, so yeah, there was just lots of water coming down the sidewalk. So what can we do this week? We can think about who helped you feel lighter this week? Who lifted your load a little bit? And whose load could you also lift? And did you see how small it is? How a little action really can renew you? So, when I was digging into the burnout literature, it was very clear that we get burned out giving, giving, giving with highly emotional conversations all day. But the way we renew is with a connection that's supportive. And those are not all of our professional connections, right? They're not all supportive. It's sometimes we give, give, give. We're the professional, we're giving. So we're not taking from that person then. But sometimes we have to go to someone and go back to this little list and think, which one of these might work this week? Okay, so that's it. That's just a quick thing. Connections. Where does this come from? This comes from the Harvard study. So I'm using everything based on that Harvard study. It's the longest study on health and happiness for humans. This is the one where they started with the men of Harvard, and then they went to their family, and then they included their wives and their offsprings, and they looked like who lived a meaningful life, who liked their life. It was not money, it was not degrees, it was not how many certificates you have, how many schools you went to, where you practiced, your salary. It was connection. So that's why this summer we're focusing on what really matters, which is connections. Okay, you got this. All right, so let's just think about it this week. And maybe if somebody did help you feel lighter this week, send them a little thank you. Just start that renewing relationship, which connections are for us. Okay, you got this. I appreciate you guys. I'm grateful for you and all that you do.